there, everybody. Thanks for joining me for another one-man review. Today I will be looking at Wont to Cant by Ian Mackay and Gavin Owens. This is published by Cold Cube Press, and it looks like another risograph production. I've also looked at The One Who Weeps, which looked like a risograph, so I'm really interested in Cold Cube Press. So I'm going to have to find out more about them. Again, I got these through Glacier Bay Books. Not realizing that they were also a store distributor. I just thought these were all Glacier Bay's products, but they're really cool. So thanks to Glacier Bay and thanks to Cold Cube for putting out such good work. Here you see right here, this is a fantasy world, and we've got a fantasy world map. It looks a bit different. Like with most things, I wish I could read this like 3 times before doing a review because I could figure it out and come back to the map and have any context for the map when I start reading it. But it's really lovely and makes really good use of the just couple colors that are available to the artist with the risograph. It's a beautiful thing, and it's immediately you're opening this up going, oh, I'm in for something special here. This is going to be cool. It's on this beautiful creamy paper. Just really cared for. These Cold Cube Press books are really art objects. Immediately you get this just beautiful piece of non-representational art that's playing with form. It looks, because it's a risograph, it looks like an actual screen print or handmade lithograph, where you can see like this orange here. You can see how the ink's overwriting. Just for someone who enjoys the tactility of print and the tactility of an object being cared for, this is an amazing book. And then you flip and that immediately turns into this hilarious, you've got this main character here who's having a dream, and he's like eating these little pills like a PacMan head, and then starts pooting them out and then sees that PacMan is eating what he's pooping out and is coming to get him. So I thought that was just an awesome opening sequence. It's really funny. I for a second I thought, oh, this book is going to be, it's strange, it's got a map, but it's going to be a bunch of little short stories. And no, this was just a dream, so that makes sense. And then you have this character wakes up. Really like this effect here with the head clanging side to side. I've noticed with the risographs that since they work with what Sean, something close to what Sean calls a stochastic screening, where it's not an even grid of dots, but it's like randomly distributed dots. It looks kind of like an airbrush, or like if you use a toothbrush to spritz. I've noticed that in a lot of risographs because I think that's how the risograph prints. So artists are using texture tools that recreate that look in Photoshop. I'm not sure. I've seen similar tools and similar effects used in books that were obviously printed with just a regular offset litho, and those artists don't seem to be using it as well, or it just doesn't show up as well. I'm not sure, but this is another person who really seems to understand the technology that they're using and are cueing what they're doing towards it, and have built up whatever, however they're doing the tools, whether it be digital or physical, I don't know, but it's a really lovely look. So most of the book is this 2-color, and I couldn't figure out exactly why certain scenes would have the orange in it and certain scenes didn't. It didn't seem to change the emotional content. Maybe it's just when they're outside and inside. Is that what's going on? No, because you get the orange on the inside here as well. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if there was like a cost thing, like, oh man, I can afford to have like 30 of my 100 pages. I don't know that, maybe there's something like that in there, but it was just something curious. I don't think it really took me out of the story, but it didn't seem to add to the story either, which was what I noted about it. Really like this use of the effect here though. Like you've got this orange and you've got everyone's word balloons in this orange, and here it's gradating so you can see it, and then the gradient blows further and further up and like cuts off the chatter, and that's happening as this character comes in. And what's happened is this is some kind of religious society in a future. Again, this is volume 1. It's another one of these ones that I feel like it's mostly world building in a good kind of sense. They're not overly explaining things, but that means that I need to let the story ride out a little bit to figure out what's going on. So I don't quite know what's going on by this point in the book, but there's some kind of futuristic world. This current religious leader has died, and they're ushering in the new Abbott. So that's this character here who's coming, and like this, the hush descending on the crowd is represented really well there. So here you get the new Abbott, and it's got a new plan that most people don't seem on board with. he has picked this one character, the main character who had the dream, Harold. He's picked him out, who's a neophyte, and it seems to think that he's going to be the perfect fit for whatever his new agenda is, which isn't 100% explained yet in the book. I think it will be in further volumes. But here he's found something in Harold's face that he thinks is like, indicative of, I don't know, whatever he's looking for. So that's he's picked him out, and he's seen like this guy is the representation, the holy union in one body, geometry and man, two foci on a sphere. And then here you see like a Vitruvian Man. I'm really quite enamored, and me and Sean have been playing with these kind of two-tone overlaps like this. We've been doing it in Photoshop, not with actual spot inks, but really enamored with this, and really enamored with this idea that we, by having multiple drawings like stacked on top of each other, you could create extra meaning throughout it. So like here you've got Harold and then the Vitruvian Man behind him, and the way those things supervene on top of each other, like this supervenes on that, I think that can be used for some really interesting purposes, to create basically compressions of meaning in comics that we hadn't had available to us before. Comics already can compress a lot into an image, and I think this is the future forward to even greater compressions. So that's basically chapter 1 in the book. Is this neophyte has been picked, and a lot of other people are very, very sad that he's being brought up to the top tier. He shouldn't be brought up to the top tier. Know your place. And so there's some story evolving about this guy going into the higher tiers of his society. Really like this bit of cartooning here, where you got the guy is obviously cold, and he's got goose pimples on his neck, or goose skin, chicken skin, and all of his little hairs are standing up. But you just take that on its own, and it's such a great abstract drawing, and then you put it in context of these two, and it's a really great idea. There's also something in the story to do with these spheres. These spheres have to get, I don't know what they are yet, but they're like a collection of the personal data, and they have to be refreshed every now and then. Here's a really cool cutaway, and also just a funny scene where the new Abbott's like upstairs with the main acolytes like working out, and everyone else is down here doing church. He's obviously partying to like some disco music in a very funny scene. Harold's up there with him, really exhausted. And then when he goes down, you get it in this orange, and he goes down his little fireman's pole to deliver his his speech to everyone else. So that's all real interesting. I don't know what these spheres are for exactly yet. You're also starting to get a sense that there's something else untoward, some kind of Soylent Green situation going on here that's probably powering these spheres. So there's some corruption in the middle of the church that Harold's finding out about. And then he gets sent out to basically collect people's old spheres and give them their new spheres, I think is what's going on here. Again, I don't understand the function of the spheres entirely yet, but I'm curious about them. I've also noticed that in this third section, we then get like this cool color as well. It looks like a cool greenish color. Might just be green, I don't know. Apologize my partially colorblind eyes, but I think it worked. I think this book works better with two colors and black. The orange and the black is a little, I don't know. It's not awful, but it's not the best combo in my eyes. Kind of Halloween looking or something. So things get really strange in this part of the book. You can see there's a lot of strangeness going on. Here's another one of these overlay sections where they've got the two colors overlaid, this kind of stuff that me and Sean are playing with. I want to do a lot more with this kind of thing in my own work. So really excited to see those kinds of things here. And here you can see it again, you know, his costume of what he's supposed to be versus what he is. You know, the naked man lying on the floor, having lost his purity in this night of drunken partying and orgying. I think that's really powerful. I think it's a really powerful image. So I look forward to playing with those tricks more. And I look forward to seeing wherever this goes. There's obviously going to be a revolt somewhere because of they spew spherical vomit. Like whatever's going on with these spheres, kick their spheres, judgment will be done. So that's like the major story that's building here, is that Harold's going to get wrapped up in a political revolution against the Abbey and the Abbott. So that's the end of part one. I haven't jumped online yet to see what's up with part two, if it's out yet or not, but I'll definitely be getting it. And I'm definitely going to be tracking down more from Cold Cube Press there in Seattle, Washington. These two artists, Gavin Owens and Ian Mackay, live in Oakland and San Francisco. So they're American artists from the Bay Area. It's a cool thing. It's a very cool thing that's going on here. And I look forward to seeing more of it. I hope you guys can afford to support it, because it's a cool book. I think you'll be very satisfied with it. And if you enjoy what we're doing here on the channel and you want to figure out how to best support us, there's two ways. You do it through our Patreon. We have some different tiers there. You can vote on some things, vote on some polls. You could have a chance to win some artwork. I'm going to start putting some exclusive comics up on there pretty soon. So that's pretty cool. And we use the money from that to help us buy the books that we review. And then beyond that, the best thing that you can do, really the best thing that you can do, is support what Sean's doing with Living the Line Publishing. That's really what this channel is all about, is making sure people get better books, get made with better quality, and more people get exposed to them. Like this kind of thing here is perfect. So that's the real mission. So if you want to support that mission, here are a couple books that you can go out and grab. Plaza by Yokoyama Yuichi. This is translated by Ryan Holmberg and is very large for a manga. So that's a really cool feature of this book, this standard manga size. And this is just a 200 some odd page representation of what Yokoyama Yuichi thinks of the Carnival Parade. And he's just made this like relentlessly loud and rhythmic book that pushes all kinds of amazing boundaries of what comics and manga are. And we could not recommend this book more. Centralia is an awesome, gorgeous comic by rising Dutch star Miel Van de Peet. This is his first work. It's a really great sci-fi story. There's a world in the future where the sun has gotten so hot that people can't be on the ground. So they have to run around. There's a lot of conceits that go with that. You know, what is the world that looks like? And I think you can see by the art that Sean's description of this book as like a Moebius for young adults, a YA Moebius, is a really great description of this really gorgeous and like wild, wacky, fun book. Thanks for following along. Take it away, Jack.
You want to see all these books? Smash that subscribe button and the like button and the bell, and then you get them.